Let's go.
Hello, and welcome to the Unfiltered Copenhagen podcast. This is a show where we talk about Copenhagen and what's going on in the city. And we also talk a little bit about our own lives. I am one of your hosts, Ford, and with me is...
I'm Rodolfo.
As always. And I don't know. We're going to talk about some shit today that's going on in Copenhagen. It's been Easter
there's been some
week.
stuff happening. It's Easter. It's Easter today, right?
Yeah.
I guess technically it's the Sunday.
Have you eaten any like chocolate eggs or any kind of shit like that?
We got some chocolate eggs at my company. They gave us a small box with, I don't know how many grams, but I'll say like, I don't know, 300-400 grams of chocolate eggs.
Yeah.
And those are long gone.
Okay, you already told you there was only 4 eggs in there?
No. There was like 400 grams or something.
Oh, 400 grams? Holy shit.
It's just a... Didn't you get it? A yellow box?
Well, yeah. I haven't opened it yet. You tore that shit up like a fucking savage.
Yeah, 2 days. That's how long
400 grams of chocolate. That probably ran right through
I was bulking. That's my excuse.
All right.
No,
was it good chocolate?
Yeah,
like high quality?
It's good. I mean, it's the same they give every year.
Do you think is it as good as Marabou chocolate?
Sure, it's fine. Okay. I didn't regret any of those. They had some with marzipan in it, and I'm not big into marzipan.
No,
it's a very Danish thing. Though.
Marzipan is like kind of either I'm really feeling it at the time or I'm not. And usually the really strong, very heavy marzipan flavor, I can stand some that's like a little bit blended, where it's like some hints or a note of marzipan, but the flavor is so strong that it's never really a note. And on top of that, I don't think Danes are really big fans of like subtlety when it comes to like flavoring. Like it's either licorice or it's marzipan or it's like not flavored at all.
Yeah, well,
in a way.
I don't know, because that makes me think of I have a friend of mine who went to Portugal, and when I asked him when you came back what he liked the most, and especially I wanted to know if he liked the food, because the food is one of the good things we have in Portugal, and he couldn't really explain to me. He was a bit disappointed with the food, and I think one of the things he said was that, I don't know if it was too flavorful or too intense, but he gave a hint of this tasted too much.
Mm-hmm.
Which
was he Danish?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
which made me a bit confused.
Yeah. It was like a very Danish reaction.
It's like,
to food.
Okay, so you want some
this has
bland,
too much flavor. Yeah, I'd like it a little more bland.
Just remove the spices,
Yeah.
Just every single spice you have there, remove it. Just add some water.
That's quite a Danish thing. Although I think more and more, like Danes are starting to experiment with more chili, and like there's certain flavor profiles that they like that are stronger, but still probably not even anywhere near as strong as like we would make shit in the US, like salty or barbecue flavor.
I think it's more that kind of, so it's not so much spiciness or unknown flavors.
It's more like they don't like salty shit very much.
Yeah, maybe it's salt. Actually, that's one of the things I notice as well. Every time, whenever I've eaten at other people's places, and they've cooked, the food never has salt.
Yeah. It's like you're expected to add it later if you want it.
Well, the thing is, I see Danes, I guess I'm saying Danes because like I've been to Danish dinners, and this is what I've seen: people add salt before they even taste the food beforehand.
Yeah, of course. They don't even know how salty it is. They just add some. They're like, that's probably enough.
It's so weird to me.
Yeah, that's strange. That is strange.
Like, at least taste it.
And then in some cultures, adding the salt is like an offense to the chef.
Yeah, because
I should have made it the right way already. Why is it not good enough for you? Like should be prepared perfectly.
Yeah, I never grew up with salt on the table.
Yeah,
because
everything was already
my mom just
enough.
put salt there,
Yeah,
and but here that's one of the things that struck me when I've moved when I moved here, that people just added salt without knowing if it needed. But I've come to understand that the reason for that is basically that nobody ever puts salt on the fucking food or pepper. So I've learned from it for it, and I have become a little bit more Danish in my...
Yeah. Well, it's not an offensive thing if you add some salt after, like here. It's kind of expected that you'll probably do that. So, I don't know. The weather, like 2 weeks ago, seemed like it was going to turn nice, and then it's been a little bit...
It's been okay
hit or
this
miss.
Week.
It's been kind of spotty. Like some days it's really nice, and then yesterday was in the shitter.
Oh, yesterday was terrible.
It's like raining all day. But, it was cold.
That's what you get for living here.
Yeah.
That's going to be a constant in the podcast, I believe.
Yeah, pretty much.
Complaining
just
about
hashtag,
the weather.
We should have put a hashtag weather. Speaking of the podcast, we've done some work now, and we are officially live, right?
Yes.
We are on SoundCloud, Unfiltered, soundcloud.com/unfiltered-Copenhagen. We might change that later, but for now, that's what we're going to, I guess, leave it on.
Yeah.
We got 4 episodes, 4 of the latest episodes uploaded, and of course, this one will be there as soon as we're done recording it. We signed up for Stitcher as a partner, so I guess we're going to be able to, people with Stitcher, that's a pretty popular thing.
I think it's the most popular after iTunes or even before iTunes. I don't know.
And then we're also going to, I think, publish it on iTunes with some other hoops maybe we got to jump through with Apple to get it approved and all that. But it's not too bad, it looks like. But it's not quite as easy as just making a SoundCloud and a Stitcher thing. So, yeah, we'll be there. And we have an email, unfilteredcph@gmail.com. If you are interested on being in the show or if you have any comments or ideas or feedback, we would love to hear it.
Yeah, write us.
Yeah, write us. Give us some news articles.
We'll check the spam filters as well, just in case.
Yeah.
But don't use that as a way to send us spam. Come on.
So, speaking of news and shit, is there anything going on? This looks pretty fucking bleak over here on CPH
Well, I can
Post.
tell you one thing that is going on in Denmark, in Copenhagen right now, which is the Nordic Open.
Oh, right.
There's-
the backgammon.
It's a backgammon tournament. It's, I guess, one of the big.
It's one of the biggest events in the backgammon world every year, right?
Yes.
And then there's another one, the Monte Carlo, what is there? Some other?
There's a few ones I'm not really up to date with.
Well, I remember everybody when we were at the Nordic Open last year. I think they also talked something about the Monte Carlo or something.
But Monte Carlo sounds like a normal place to have
Yeah.
gambling.
Gambling
potential gambling activities. Yeah.
Were those guys playing any of, what's that ring game? The other variation of backgammon that they play with multiple players? Chouette, yeah.
Yeah.
Were they playing that? Because that's a big gambling game, right?
I don't know. I don't really know how to play Chouette.
I read over the rules, and it seems like pretty straightforward if you already know backgammon, but there's a bunch of little caveats and stuff that you probably just play with guys that know how to play for a while, and they'd teach you, and like 2-3 games in, you would have the basic concepts, but maybe you wouldn't know the perfect times to like to put your cube up, or there's some rules about like, because everybody has their own cube, and versus the dealer or whatever, the one player that's holding the thing. So anyways, there's some strategy around that, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's some rotation of players going on, and I don't know exactly. When I was in New York in September, I actually saw some people on Union Square playing Chouette.
Really?
So there were 3 guys playing backgammon, and
For money?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But they were just playing there, and they were rotating, and I asked one of them.
Huh.
And yeah, they were playing Chouette, they told me. And they told me where else to go to find other backgammon players. And I went and I didn't find anyone.
Huh.
But Union Square, there's going to be a backgammon player there or 2. When I told him I was from Denmark, even though I wasn't born here, when I told him, oh yeah, I live in Denmark, his eyes kind of lit up. It's like, holy shit. I could see him thinking, oh, you must be really good then. Because I guess
Danes are pretty well known for their backgammon prowess.
They just won this year again the Denmark versus rest of the world competition that they have every year at the Nordic Open.
And I didn't know what the reason for it was that A, backgammon was so popular here, and B, that Danes were so good at it, until I found out that I guess sometime in the 90s, either Tuborg or Carlsberg, they paid to basically have a backgammon set or multiple backgammon sets in every bar and little, what are the smaller bars called here?
Bodegas.
Bodegas. They paid to have these backgammon tables that were branded with their Carlsberg shit and all that in every bodega and bar in Denmark. And then there was also like some tournament
and they sponsored some tournament,
And so they kind of like popularized backgammon as like a way to, hey, you can pass time while you're drinking our beer and just sit in the place, which I think was a brilliant idea from a marketing perspective. And also, backgammon's a really fun game and a thinking man's game. And I would say it's not very popular. Like a lot of people that I knew in the U.S. don't even know how to play backgammon. You know?
No, I don't think it's very popular.
Like when I came here, I didn't know how to play.
Except in certain places like Denmark, I think in the Middle East or certain parts of the Middle East is popular.
And maybe in like some of the Asian countries too, where like math-based and statistics kind of games are
Japan,
popular.
In Japan, I think there is, some of the best players in the world are Japanese.
Yeah. Mochi. Was he there this year?
I haven't seen him, but I'm sure he was.
And Falafel, I'm sure as well.
Yeah, I'm sure he's there, but I haven't seen him.
Okay. So you're gonna go tomorrow on the final and just check it out?
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out tomorrow. I'm gonna play some jackpots because I haven't. I've stopped there. I've stopped by twice already this year, but I haven't really played anything yet.
Was our friend that we met the first time last year there?
Who?
Rashid.
Oh, no, he wasn't there.
Oh.
I texted him. I think he might have gone there yesterday, but I wasn't there yesterday.
Okay. Does he knows it's going on, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I talked to
But
him.
he just wasn't up for it or something this year.
I think he might have gone there yesterday, but I wasn't there. But no, he wasn't playing in the tournaments.
All right. I haven't seen him in a while, so I figured that would be something he might have attended. Let's. I got a few news articles here on CPH Post. Boy, these are pretty bleak and boring. There's a few though. An expat to be deported from Denmark after 32 years in the country. Mary Stuart Berger given 4 weeks to pack her bags and leave.
Yeah, I'd seen that headline before. That's a bit fucked up.
She's lived and worked here since 1985. She's 60 years old and she's a U.S. citizen. She found out the hard way when she applied for a temporary work and residence permit in the process she believed would be a formality. She was a Houston native, like me. She worked for the World Health Organization in Copenhagen for many years. And this is where it gets complicated due to exemptions afforded to international organizations like the UN. And okay. She would have been allowed to live here according to their special permit terms, but she never got like the official permanent thing or something. Damn.
So she's just missing some. I mean, but if she's been here for that long, why haven't they expelled her before? Just because the rules changed recently? The laws?
Well, in an 8-page letter, the Immigration Services wrote that there was no special reasons that support giving you a residence permit. Her request was denied, and she was also informed that it would have helped her if she had children in Denmark. But because she's childless, having a brother and sister in Houston held more weight than her 3 decades of life in Denmark.
But still, someone who's been living here 30 years, you know? I mean, no criminal record, I presume.
Yeah.
Like, nothing really bad to say about him. Why? 30 years is a long time. It's like 32 years. That's more than half her age, right? She was 60.
Yeah. Wow. So she's got an appeal. She has a lawyer. She's appealing. But of course, it says here, ultimately, timing may not be in her favor because Denmark's toughening up of immigration laws in recent years. And she was apparently informed she couldn't apply earlier either. So, like, they waited till, I guess it was tight or I don't know. Seems pretty unlucky for her. God, I hope some shit like that doesn't happen. I mean, I've already got a permit, but I have to renew it every 4 years. I would hate
Yeah, but as long as you have a job, that shouldn't be a problem.
But I would hate to have to go back. I don't want to go back.
Yeah, well, then you can become a Danish citizen.
I know. I'm working on it.
You have to pass a test.
Yeah, it's fine.
Cultural test.
Yeah. So, can you eat
Make sure you
Can you eat a 6-kilogram fläskesteg in 3 minutes?
Yeah, I think they're gonna feed you some marzipan on that
shit. Some licorice.
And they're gonna test your like stomach reflex or your gag reflex or stuff like that.
And like see if I can drink like a whole like 2 liters of milk and stuff like that without having like a reaction.
Yeah, and licorice. It's gonna involve licorice.
The licorice.
Marzipan.
I think all the other ones I could do no problem. I hate licorice. I don't like licorice.
Yeah,
I just gotta lie and say I do something.
That's one of the things that I also. It's probably one of the few things that I just can't get used to here. Licorice. I think you kind of need to be born with it. You know, eat it as a kid, get used to it when you're young.
Yeah. I think
your taste buds develop.
Because it's like an acquired taste. Like you have to kind of get used to it slowly. It's like a bit like coffee. Like when you're a young kid and you first try coffee or like beer. The first time you try it, you're like, that shit's gross.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait a minute, I could see how somebody could like this, but it takes the time. I think licorice is the same way.
Yeah, I think it sounds.
But I don't know if I'm ever going to acquire that fucking taste.
I'm probably never going to force myself into. And since I don't eat it, then I don't see how the taste is going to.
It's not really necessary for survival.
No, I think my progeny is going to be fine. Even if I don't learn how to enjoy licorice.
I don't really think this is that interesting.
But it is kind of fucked up though that they're expelling her. I mean,
I'm saying that is interesting. I mean, she's like somebody I would like to actually have on the podcast and talk to because that's
how much time do we have?
It says next year she might be eating her birthday cake in Houston, so she has an appeal ongoing. I imagine they give her a little bit of time, hopefully, with the appeal. I don't know. But I would have her on. I would talk to her. She's from Houston. She's been here 30 years. She's what better authority to talk to on Copenhagen?
Yeah, 30 years. I mean, the country's changed,
It has
especially
changed,
the city has
no
changed
doubt
so
it has
much.
changed a lot. I mean, she got here in the 80s.
Yeah, and
I mean, to watch it go through the evolution it has over just that period.
yeah, it's like back then, Vestapol was still kind of a ghetto, I guess.
And back then, like, Christiania was still relatively young and like
Yes.
in its early formative, like what was it, the late 60s and early 70s?
Or early 70s.
Early 70s
yeah.
that they took it over.
I think it was in the
So
70s.
it had been going strong maybe 10 years. That was like they had probably just started building some stuff up there. It was probably
Yeah,
very
I
active.
wonder how it looked. I think there's some
There's some
pictures
photos.
somewhere.
Yeah, there's some photos
old
of it back in the day.
But you can't get like
No.
a good overview. You just see
yeah,
pictures
you see
of a specific
spot and a frame in time.
yeah.
But like imagine if you could go back there in time and like visit it then.
To be fair, I don't know if it would be much different.
Maybe not at all. But you know, you always like to romanticize on how things used to be or whatever, how they could be, and like the grass is always greener, right?
Yeah.
If it's like something right now, you always think about, oh, I bet it was better way back then.
Yeah,
It's like the whole they don't make them like they used to kind of thing, you know?
it was like in Technicolor back then.
Yeah. Danish capital to increase pedestrian safety after the Stockholm terror attack.
What does that involve? Increasing
I think primarily more like street level bollards or whatever those like stone and or metal blockades, like the things that they
like
have in front of the parliament and stuff, so people can't just drive a car up on the street.
There's a bunch of those now on
Yeah.
Stål,
Yeah,
right on Holtzplatsen.
probably a
at the
good
beginning.
idea. Probably a fair idea. You don't really want a car going down that street anyway, do you? Even if it doesn't have bad intentions. Like cars on that fucking street are annoying.
Well,
It's not really designed for cars. It's literally called a walking street.
yeah, you need to have cars or trucks to deliver goods.
Yeah,
But
okay.
but those can still go on the side streets, and I guess that if they go on the side streets, they can't really gain that much speed
no.
to really
To
cause,
do anything malicious.
Yeah, to cause that amount of
Yeah. So what happened in
damage to
Sweden? There was an attack. What, like 4 people died or something? He was from Uzbekistan, hijacked a truck and crashed into the front of Alan's department store in the pedestrian street. It was also like a shopping street, Drottninggatan or something. It's like a shopping street there.
Drottninggatan.
Gatan. Okay, thanks for that nice Swedish pronunciation.
Well, I don't know if it
But
was
you
a
have to
good
say it a bit
pronunciation.
like this.
Yeah, Drottninggatan.
Okay.
Yeah, that was kind of no, don't make me do.
Okay.
do
Don't make you
accents.
do
I
Swedish.
can't. No,
I-
or anything.
I
to be
can't do
fair.
it either.
I
I
can't
just
do anything.
I just know how that Swede sound in English, and it's a bit like this. They talk
yeah,
a
they
bit like
speak a little
this.
bit like this.
Yeah, because I think their language is more of like Morton was explaining to me that they kind of sing their language,
Mhm.
whereas the Danes, they have a certain timing and rhythm. Like it's like a more like to the beat. Like the thing should go a certain way,
Yeah.
but they don't really change the intonation so much of words like as like a singing thing. It's just more like a rhythmic pattern.
Mhm. Yeah.
Whereas the Swedes kind of go up and then down and then I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. I like languages, and
Yeah, me too.
One of the things that I've realized is that for you to actually sound like a native of whatever language, I mean, of course, you need to pronounce the words correctly, but a lot of it is the cadence of the language.
Cadence,
so that
the
rhythm,
intonation,
Yeah.
just all these little subtle things that are never really taught to you other than you just living there and experiencing it and practicing it over and over and over again.
yeah, but I mean, besides, I guess maybe some voice coaches in Hollywood
Yeah.
or stuff like that, I don't know if anyone actually mentions these things, like
No.
how to lose your or how to.
I think it's
gain
mainly a
an
Hollywood
accent.
thing. Isn't the guy that plays Jamie Lannister? He's Danish,
He's
right?
Danish, yeah.
And his like English is super clean. Like
It's
I
kind of
couldn't-
Britishy,
yeah, it probably. I
like
think
most Danes.
I think
guess.
most Danes too. If they could pick an accent for English, they would prefer like a proper English rather than an American.
Well, I don't know if they prefer,
You
but
don't think so?
what
about
I don't know if it's a preference.
What about Valentine?
No,
he's
I-
got a clean ass like English type accent.
Yeah, but I think most Danes or more Danes have a British English accent rather than an American.
Just because of
English.
proximity and probably
I don't know exactly
circumstances,
why
right?
yeah,
They've,
I
they've
don't know
probably
exactly
traveled
why.
there more or lived there more.
But
Fair enough.
it's something that I've noticed.
So concrete barrier blocks were temporarily installed in a pedestrian zone after a truck terror attack on Christmas in Berlin. Will probably become a permanent feature of the city, decorated with flower pots or replaced by trees. Meanwhile, PET, the Danish intelligence agency, announced that the current threat level in Denmark remains unchanged at severe.
Severe.
Yeah.
What do you know what the levels are?
You
I'm
know,
curious.
it's probably a bit like all the-
DEFCON 2.
Yeah, well, the U.S. has one too, right after George Bush took, and it was like code red, or they had like green, yellow, orange, and red or something to set the appropriate level of panic for the country so that they could really drum up some support for a full-scale invasion and missile strike and all that shit under questionable circumstances. I don't think they ever really found any weapons of mass destruction there.
No, I don't think so.
No,
either.
I don't think there were any.
But they found a lot of oil.
Yeah, they found a lot of oil. They found a lot of good business for Halliburton. That stock shot
And
up.
maybe opium dens or...
And you know what? They tested a bunch of fucking badass missiles and bombs. I mean, that shit blew up just like it was supposed to.
Yeah.
So that was good. Danish police arrest 3 teenagers for dropping stones from a bridge.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
On vehicles.
Remember?
More people dropping these fucking rocks on bridges.
We talked about
this in a previous podcast.
Yes.
What the fuck, man? Stop throwing rocks off bridges. That's fucking ridiculous.
But at least now we have a bit more information. I mean, so it's teenagers.
3 teenage boys were arrested Sunday night for dropping stones on a lorry from a footbridge over Evetur Havnvej in the Copenhagen suburb of Vior.
Yeah.
I
have a hard time pronouncing that as
that's
well.
That's a tough one for foreigners, I think. No one was injured. Okay, thank you. And the vehicle escaped with only a chipped windscreen and some scratches.
Again, I'm curious, how heavy are these stones?
I don't know about these, but the other ones, they killed somebody. So
there's no details about the stones then.
It says the stones they used to drop on the lorry were about 3 to 5 centimeters long.
Okay, that's not too big.
You wouldn't want it on your head, though. But anyways, what is the fucking fascination with dropping shit on cars passing underneath? I mean, when I was a kid, we used to throw rocks at a train that was passing by.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. It's just
maybe
less dangerous, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's a little less dangerous because if you throw rocks at a fucking train, we weren't throwing it at like the main car carriage. We were throwing it at the fucking things that haul like oil and rocks and shit around. Like the rock just dings off that thing. It's like fully fucking steel. Like there's nothing you can do.
If it's a 5 centimeter rock, it's probably gonna just bounce off the lorry.
Maybe.
Lorry. Did it feel weird when you said lorry for it?
Lorry? No, not really. I mean, I guess the
lorry. I'm not used to saying lorry.
I'm not either because in the U.S. you usually refer to those as big rigs or
just trucks.
No. Big if it's like one of those large things, it's either a big rig or an 18-wheeler, and that's referring to those really fucking big ones.
Mm-hmm.
If it's kind of that medium-sized one, what the fuck are those called? There's a specific word for those trucks. I can't think of it offhand, but
caravan.
No, it's oh well, we're gonna have to leave that one. But lorry is a very specific term and very European.
It's British. But I never caught up with it. I never.
No.
But I always learn my English from either the internet or from American TV stuff. You know.
18-wheeler, Dolph.
18-wheeler.
18-wheeler.
I've probably seen that when I played Full Throttle. I think they had an 18-wheeler there. So nothing else about the teenagers?
Not really. I mean, come on, kids being kids, but you guys got to find a better hobby, you know? I did see this article. Now, this is fucked up. There's not a lot of details here on the CPH post, but I bet we can check Extra Ball for like some really juicy details. So we'll do that. But let's start off with the authoritative news source first. Several people found killed in a Copenhagen apartment. One person has been arrested and charged with murder. Several people were found dead in an apartment in Brøndshøj. We were notified about a domestic dispute at 7:35 this morning and sent a routine patrol. We found several people killed in the apartment, and it was a horrible sight. The police have cordoned off the area around the building and continued to investigate the case as a Familicide. So, like, some guy killed his whole family, or some woman, I don't know, somebody killed their whole family.
So it wasn't like an external.
No, probably not. Familicide usually indicates that somebody in the family exterminates the rest of them. Holy fuck, man!
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Like, what drives somebody to do that kind of shit?
Mental illness.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, to all those people you love and trust and maybe brought into the world and decided to spend the rest of your life with, you just decide that you've had enough and you just
Yeah, because one
you're
thing
gonna
is
end
you
their
killing
life too.
yourself. Another
Yeah,
thing
that's
is you
different.
ending, and it's not even I like, okay, it could be a psychopath and just, okay, I want to kill someone and just kill random people, but you're not going to kill your family. I mean,
No,
that's
think
really
that I think that
some.
takes a real special kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason other than some kind of mental illness, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, even if you had a huge argument with your wife, and again, or here you go, just assuming that it was a man, because, well, that's what stereotypes are for. So even if you have a really big argument, you're not going to kill your kids as well. It's really difficult to understand.
I mean, I know there's been cases in the U.S. where, like, for instance, let's say a couple, they had some kids together. I'm not speaking about a specific one, but I know I've heard of things like this and stuff like that. I mean, I guess it's a bigger country, so we just have more incidents of things anyway. But I think there's been some cases where basically, like, they were gonna, like, let's say the wife wanted a divorce, and you know she was gonna take the kids as well, and like the guy was just gonna get fucked. Or I mean, I guess it could have been the other way too, right? In either situation, but let's just assume the scenario: they're getting a divorce. Maybe she found out he was cheating. Maybe he was an alcoholic. Whatever. She's gonna use that in court to, like, basically get all his money from, like, the alimony or whatever. When they break up, you have to give like half or even more sometimes in certain circumstances. Gonna get like full custody of the kids. And the guy, like, maybe he's actually a nice guy, just fucked up, or maybe he's not. I don't know. Maybe he's a complete fuck up. But he's like, yeah, over my dead body, you'll fucking take the kids and half my house and all that. And so then he, like, murders her and the kids. Like, yeah, how about that? You know what I mean? Like, just as a giant fuck you. I mean, again, it takes a special kind of fucked up. But I mean, to go from, like, you know, to that place. But still, I mean, I think it's definitely happened before, and who knows? It could be something like that. It could be some mental illness, some other situation.
It's difficult for me.
But I guess we got to check extra blood now for the juicy details, maybe.
Yeah, it's always a good source for this kind of things, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's something so far away from my own psyche that I can't really even imagine what it takes to do something like that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your whole family. I have a friend who used to live in Glostrup, and he once heard some argument, like some really heated argument, I guess, with one of his neighbors, and I think the next day something appeared on the news.
Okay.
I don't think anybody died.
But it was like
maybe
an altercation, kind of some abuse,
domestic violence or something like that. And they're like, oh yeah, I heard those guys yesterday.
Yeah. So we had a time in the US when I was living in Houston on, like, the northwest side, like Jersey Village area or something. I had an apartment there on the 3rd story. And my bedroom was, like, back to back with another person's bedroom. You know, we had, like, identical mirrored units on that floor, and the walls were not ultra thin. Like, for the most part, those people couldn't hear what we were doing, or, like, we couldn't hear them at any kind of normal volume, just talking, whatever. But there was times where, like, this guy, I think it was a girl who lived there, and there was a guy, like, maybe in and out of jail or whatever, that would come see her sometimes. And man, like, they would get in some serious fucking fights. Like, you would hear furniture rattling and you know, like walls getting slammed, and you don't know really what's going on other than that some fucked up shit's going on. Yeah. And I remember...
Would you hear them scream?
Yeah. One time specifically, he just kept screaming, "Yo pussy stank, ho. Yo pussy smell like shrimp." Like, that was, like, one of the quotes that I remember hearing through the wall. And, you know, because she was talking shit to him and he was talking shit back, and so, yeah, there was, like, the, yo, got that old scrimp pussy. Oh, stinking like shrimp. So,
you think that was the cause for the argument?
No, I don't think so. I think he was just saying that to be hurtful. But anyways, it got so bad one night that I called the fucking sheriff out there. And I just called him, and I was like, hey, like, this guy's, like, I don't know if he's beating the shit out of her, but, like, they've been going at it. I can't sleep. I'm hearing the walls banging. I think that there's, like, some domestic abuse shit. You guys need to come out here and just check up on them and make sure that everything's all right. You know, because I didn't want to be the guy that heard all that. And then you find out the next morning that, like, she dies or something, or I don't know, whatever. And yeah, they were like, oh, can we put a name down for the guy? I was like, fuck no, don't put a name down for, like, I don't want anybody to visit, because I don't want that guy, like, to to see the cops like visiting my door and then going over there and then come back for some retaliation shit. I was like, no. Like, I want to be anonymous, you know? And so they didn't bother me or anything, but they did come out and I think they arrested him. I think they found some like cocaine and then also maybe he had some outstanding shit. So they took him. But, yeah, that's my only real experience with like kind of
but
maybe
so
not really witnessing domestic violence, I guess, firsthand in a way, but just knowing that it's going on like right through my wall.
Yeah, but then they didn't take him because of anything that he did. It was more like they just found some random stuff.
You know, probably because she has to be the one to press charges, right? And I think she was crying and screaming out to him, like, you know, she was like crying to the cops, like, don't take him. Like, you know, it was some abusive relationship where it was like codependent. Like she needed that abuse or like, you know, in her mind, she like didn't want him to leave. I don't know. It was a fucked up situation, you know? But she didn't want him to be taken. And then she was like, oh, I didn't call the cops on you, you know, because he thought probably firsthand that it was her. And I don't know, man. It was just a really fucking like, it had been like kind of annoying and bad. Like I had thought a few times over the week at some point, like, should I call them? And I was like, it's not quite that bad, but it's like, this could turn ugly. And then that night there was just some shit said that like, I was like, okay, I have to call. Like, I can't handle this anymore, you know? So, not pretty.
Civil duty.
Yeah, not pretty, that fucking...
I didn't know it was you.
I guess not. No, I never heard anything about it
Did you see him later?
No, never.
You never saw him again?
I don't even know what the guy looked like. I just heard him fucking screaming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What do we got? North Korea failed to launch a missile.
Did they?
Yeah. I saw a comment on Reddit. And it was like, do you ever think that there's like a long line of extremely successful scientists that know by sabotaging the project, they're like ultimately saving the world, you know, like as the biggest troll ever, like, oh yeah, Kim, we're working on it as hard as we can. Oh, it looks like something went wrong here. Like maybe they're just like the ultimate good guy scientists, or do you think they're really trying hard and they're just fucking it up?
That's like a conspiracy theory that doesn't really sound that appealing, because usually you like the fucked up
you want to have the bad guy.
Yeah, like where some kind of super villain that nobody knows about, the Illuminati or stuff like that. Yeah, you don't. That sounds like a conspiracy theory, but a crappy one, you know? Oh yeah, there's this guy and he's really nice, and he doesn't want the world to. He doesn't want to cause trouble in the world, so he just sabotages.
Well, what if you were like a nuclear scientist and you knew the ramifications and you were being kind of like forced against your will to make something that you thought was going to kill a bunch of people?
I'd probably try to run away from the country.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was...
Yeah, but it's kind of hard to run away from North Korea when like you're the top scientist and they probably guard you and monitor every fucking thing you do. Yeah, you could try, but...
Probably.
It might not be realistic. So as a form of like silent protest, maybe you slightly fuck up the formula on certain things, or, sorry, Kim, we didn't get it right. Don't you think it's possibly plausible?
Maybe, but then...
Like, how can you fuck up so much? It seemed like they failed a bunch of shit.
The thing is, if it was only one guy, like one guy who has more access to all this stuff than the others,
sure,
then nobody else would know about it. So we would be able to sabotage it without nobody else knowing about it. And if this shit fails constantly, then he's the target. You know,
he's like, his head that gets chopped off.
Exactly.
But what if it's a group of 10 or 20 of them, and they all maybe never really said it, but they just kind of all like have this, you know, when you look somebody in the eye and you kind of give them that nod, like, hey, this guy over here, no. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like an unspoken, like, and then they all are probably complicit in it because they all kind of allowed it to happen. So none of them is really going to rat the other one out because they all probably going to die.
I think that's
reading a little too much into it.
Yeah, I think that's unlikely because I could just imagine one of them
snitching and then getting all of them executed
and then being promoted to, you know?
Okay, but then his head's going to be on the chopping block next. So anyways, I don't know. Anyways, North Korea failed to launch a missile.
I think they're just not very good.
More news at 11.
I mean, when you have a country like that, so close, so kind of stuck in the past, I mean, you're not going to have the same technological capabilities as the US, you know? And even if you can enrich uranium or whatever the hell they need to do, I mean,
yeah,
you're going to have some crap equipment there.
What is this?
I don't know.
It's a police officer suspended after a topless selfie. Oh, okay. Well, it's Mexican police officer here.
She posted a topless selfie.
Oh, that's the one right there.
That is topless for sure. I can see that.
Topless. She's got an assault rifle right there, just chilling.
Where did she post it?
Tits hanging out and everything. I guess she posted it on what? On social media. Or
Social
okay,
media.
well, it got leaked on social media. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know. Well,
Yeah, I don't know.
there you go. Chances are, if you take a picture of you with your tits out, it will end up on the internet for all of eternity.
But why would you lose your job because of it?
I don't know. Maybe they didn't think it was very professional to represent like the police force, you know, like this. Maybe because she was in uniform too, in her police car and everything. It doesn't really send like a sense of professionalism from your police force. Like if there was, do you think if like somebody posted like a topless photo in like the Copenhagen police uniform inside a car and everything, or like, you know, somebody like posted a selfie of them rolling a joint, like a police officer inside the car, you know, like that, you don't think they're going to get fired?
Well, yeah, but rolling a joint
Okay.
is technically breaking the law.
Is being topless in Denmark is not illegal, is it? Like,
I'm not acquainted.
Can you
with
bury
the-
like as a woman? Can you? Because in some like in the U.S. there's a lot of places that's like a indecent exposure.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you have breasts on the buzz here,
and they
like
but
advertisement
that's
for.
an advertisement and a picture. Like, can a woman just walk down the street with her tits out if she wants to?
I don't know.
And
I don't know.
Can a guy just walk around with his like dick swinging? Probably not. Probably not.
Probably
not. That's
but there is a
usually
double
offends some people.
standard, and it's I don't
Yeah.
know. Like breasts are not considered genitalia, so maybe there's some rule for
Yeah.
you can be topless, but I don't know.
Yeah, because I think in New York, there's been like a group fighting for that. And I think you still can, because like if a man can be topless, a woman should be able to be topless kind of thing. That's the argument. And to be fair, I think if somebody wants to do that, and as long as they're reasonably like taken care of, doesn't need to be necessarily attractive. I'm not worrying about that. But I'm just saying like doesn't have like cheese growing out of their underarm or, you know, like some weird.
Well, even if they do, I mean,
guess so. It's still their prerogative. I don't know.
That's the same as saying if someone has like
Yeah, I guess
something drooling out of their
whatever.
nostril, do we have to cover their
Okay.
face?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Okay, whatever. You got me.
Which maybe they do. I don't know.
Anyways, you should be able.
I'm gonna judge them.
You should be able to have your tits out if you want.
So, but what about news from Denmark?
Well, this was on the extra bottle. I was thinking it was
But can't you filter
perhaps
by?
related to Denmark.
Can't you filter by?
Well, I
local?
think we looked for this last time. Oh, there's
Swinger
a
club.
Swingers club. Yeah. Okay. I love the topics we get on when we look at extra bottle. Look at this shit. Martina's breasts are the largest in Europe. Wow. Okay, those are pretty big.
That's is that the Guinness World
Guinness
Records?
Book of World Records. I don't know. We could check it out a
Or
little
is
further.
it just some kind of clickbait title?
Probably just a clickbait title. Like, when's the best time to take a shit on an airplane?
Yeah, we covered that on our last
Yeah, we
podcast.
did
If
cover
you guys
that.
are interested,
Yeah, that one's up on SoundCloud. I thought that was one of our best episodes yet.
they're all equally good to me for it.
Yeah.
They're all my little kids. I can't choose one over the others.
No.
Until a really attractive one comes out. That's a fucked up car.
I don't know. I don't see too much here. I just don't see too much. I guess.
Well, it's Easter. Maybe not much stuff is happening. I don't know.
That could be true.
But maybe there's just not much stuff happening today.
You know,
Sunday.
in Denmark in general, there doesn't seem to be much happening that often. Where?
Check some food.
Okay.
That should be more.
Well, I'm looking. I'm not seeing much.
No, maybe it's just a slow news day.
Slow news day, huh?
Maybe
All right,
everybody's in the backgammon
well,
tournament.
yeah, that's true. Speaking of that, they stream the backgammon games and matches. At least some of them.
Yeah, they
The
stream
bigger ones on YouTube.
Yes.
And those are fun to watch. If you actually like backgammon, I mean, maybe even
There's
if you
no
don't.
comment though. There's no commentators.
Not always, but
For the final.
the final matches there are commentary, and I can tell you, those are my favorite to watch when Falafel's commenting, and especially last year he had Mochi with him for a while.
Yeah, it was
And
a good dynamic.
So you kind of had like both of the guys are like world class top players. Arguably, probably Falafel might be the better player for the money maybe. Like he's got a more gambling heart.
Falafel used to be the number one. Yeah.
And you would say Mochi is probably the better technical player.
Yeah, he's
Just
just like a
in a
fucking
tournament
calculator.
setting, he's just like a machine.
Yeah.
And on any given day, I guess if you put him in a race to like 25 or something, either of them could actually win it. But I would have my money generally on Mochi if we're talking tournament setting.
Probably.
But anyways, Falafel's commentary is a little bit...
he's very entertaining.
He's like colorful character, a funny guy, just great entertainment, and he really keeps the commentary going.
And he likes to make bets during the match as well.
Yeah, he makes a lot of bets on things with viewers and different people during the match. And then Mochi, he often goes to Mochi like, oh, what do you think here, Mochi? What's the computer do? Because basically Mochi like,
is the computer.
He is the computer. So, you know, then Mochi's like, well, I think here, you know, here's your two options. And, you know, this one looks better because of this. And then like Falafel will be like, yeah, I think I would have played it the other way just looking at it because it feels better. But I like that. Yeah, I like that move. That's right. You know, he's like, oh, that feels right. Yeah, don't strip the midpoint here.
I think it's a good duo.
Yeah.
It's like they balance each other very, very nicely.
So
Falafel is very entertaining. He's a very good player.
Yeah. So if you like backgammon or you want to follow the top backgammon players and maybe see some games and see some games with some commentary, should look up Nordic Open, probably 2017 on YouTube, and I bet you can
tomorrow
find
is
it.
the last day, so...
Yeah.
But at least you can find some matches
well, I mean,
on
this
YouTube.
podcast will be live before tomorrow, which is the last day anyway, so...
Yeah, but it's only going to become really popular in 2035. That's going to be the...
Well, you could still
peak.
even go to YouTube then and watch the matches.
Probably.
They'll
unless
probably
they've
still be
deleted
archived.
it. You
Come
think
on.
so? Well, you can hope so.
It's Google. They keep it forever.
But you don't know where Google's going to be. Maybe YouTube's going to go
Do you
down.
think... Yeah, where will Google be in 30 years? Will they still be around as like a major like world type player like they are now? I bet they will.
knows?
I'm pretty sure they will.
Well...
Maybe they'll rebrand as a different name, but I kind of doubt it.
It's tricky, you know, because of course you have big companies like General Electric and stuff like that that have been
and you imagine they'll
big
be around
companies
forever, and some of them fail and just go under.
So in that sense, yes, I could imagine it being around for a long time. But I mean, companies come and go as well, you know, and who knows?
Yeah, it's true. 100% true.
But one thing I'll tell you, I'm sure that in 30 years, backgammon is still going to be played here in Denmark, all over.
Yeah.
I like going to...
I wonder how good our internet's going to be in 30 years.
Do you think it needs to be much better? When you say better, you mean speed? What do you mean exactly? Filtering fake news out?
Well, I mean like overall speed, throughput, latency, and everything like that. Like even magnitude's better. Like imagine you had a 20 gigabit connection in your home, and so did everybody. And then the major server centers had like, you know, hundreds of terabits just for like a one server. Like that's the new gig E port is like 100 terabit or something.
Isn't there some country that has, I don't know if it's Iceland, where internet is like a human right?
It sounds like something
like
Iceland
that.
would do. You know, it's funny. Romania has some of the best internet in the world.
Really?
Yeah. Like, and it's really
Why?
cheap too. I don't know. I think they deregulated it and there's a lot of fucking competition. I'm pretty sure. But Romanian internet is wildly considered like, given the GDP of the country and the overall other conditions, like generally people don't make quite as much money. Like relative to all those things, it kind of stands out. Like, what the fuck? Why is your internet so good?
That's interesting. I never heard about it.
Yeah. I think you can ask Shaban about it as well.
I heard
when
Finland
he
had
comes on.
good internet.
I think the Nordics are, for the most part, pretty good on the internet front. I mean, I remember when I came here, like the best I could get in my home. Of course, there was places in the U.S. that had, like, for instance, Google Fiber, and places you could get 1 gig, but that was few and far between, and you were really lucky to be in a place like that. And then there were some places where generally you could get like 100 meg, maybe, on cable. But where I lived, they do these weird things where like the neighborhoods, it's like a homeowners association. So the whole neighborhood basically signs a contract with like AT&T or Comcast to become like an AT&T neighborhood or a fiberhood, which is what this shit was. And it's sold as like a good thing. And so we moved in, oh, cool, we'll be able to get fiber to the home and all that. So they ran fiber out, but then they ran it through some multiplexing box that basically only gave us DSL speeds over fiber. So like 26 megs down and like 3 megabits up on a fiber connection. Because
so
of
did they just throttle it?
yeah, because of like the shit in their computer. Like just basically because they have the plan set up a certain way. So they like don't even really give you any capability that the actual fiber is capable of.
So
and they charge you an arm and a leg.
So
for
they
it.
just told you, here you have some fiber.
Yeah, fiber, but it's the same speed as DSL. yeah. I was pissed. I was not happy.
Can you imagine? How much were you paying for it?
I think at the time like $130 a month.
Wow.
So I paid $130 a month.
It's like $1,000
for like 28 down and 3 megs up. Then I came here, and like this like a plan. I think the plan here is about like the equivalent of $40 US, so maybe like 200 crowns a month. And I get like 130 megs down and then like flexible up. Like I can set my upload speed. I can basically balance 130 megs as like 65 up, 65 down, or like 100 down, 30 up, or whatever. And I don't know what the balance. I think I have it like 80 down, 40 up, or something right now. But it's pretty good speed for how little money I pay. And to be fair, I don't pay anything either because the job covers it.
Yeah.
So pretty nice.
I don't have any complaints about it. But I'm not. I don't need great internet. I just need something that works and that allows me to stream stuff.
Okay, yeah, but that's the deciding factor. You were saying I don't need great internet, but you do need to be able to stream videos at least at like 720p, right? Don't you?
I don't need them to be at 720p.
Come on, if you're gonna sit for the rest of your life, let's say you're restricted to 320p videos.
What I'm talking about right now. I mean,
okay.
and besides 720, I mean, you can still have some decent quality videos that are not
at 480.
720. Yeah, but depends what you want to watch.
Okay, you want
depends what you want to
World
watch.
Star fight videos.
Well, yeah, for me to watch something filmed with a BlackBerry in 2004, I don't need great quality.
No, because they're not already in. Yeah, the quality is already shit to begin with. But
no, I mean, I guess videos are starting to become like there's higher quality videos in general.
Yeah, and cameras are capable of 4K now.
Of course, you start wanting to watch those videos in good quality as well.
Well, it's the thing. Like once you go to a better quality, it's really hard and noticeable generally when you go back. Right? Like, remember the first time, I don't know what monitor you had as your first one, but I think one of the first monitors I had was either 320 by 240 or like 640 by 640 by 480.
Yeah.
And it was like a 15-inch 640 by 480. And I remember the first time I saw my friend had like a 800 by 600 or even 1024 by 768. Holy shit, man. I was like, these graphics are HD. Like, I need these smaller pixels. I need more pixels. And so then once you get like a 1024 monitor, oh, you're never going back to 640. You're never going to go. You never want.
That's right.
And then once you upgrade 1080, like you don't want to go back to the old Stone Ages. So in that sense, I think it's also, I mean, above 1080p, like 4K at this point, we don't have enough like devices and content that can really play it properly. So like 4K is kind of just a mystery because even if a video is in 4K on YouTube, you probably don't have a device that can play it. Like the MacBook with the Retina screen can play, I think, at roughly 2160p, which is, I guess, technically 4K, but I think it's not perfectly represented on the Retina screen. Like in other words, like it's like kind of 1.5, or like almost 4K on the screen itself, but not quite.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks good. Is it necessary above 1080p? Probably not. I think frame rate is more important at most times, depending on what you're watching. But still, I don't want to go back to watching videos in 480. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, you have a
so
point.
Yeah, as long as you have an internet connection that can roughly stream 720p video, you're fine. You're good. What about when you need to check out the new UFC videos? Are you going to have enough bandwidth for that? Or you're patient, man?
I'm a patient man.
You'll let those.
Well, the thing is also that I don't stream much stuff live. So I guess if I'm streaming stuff live, I will want to.
What about
to make sure that I have a good.
What about
connection.
Like football matches? How do you watch like the Benfica stuff and all that?
I just watch them on these pirate websites.
Okay, but on a live stream, or do you wait till the result? Like, how do you not ruin the game for yourself?
Oh no, I watch it on a live stream.
So you watch it live on those pirate sites?
Yeah,
it's like some guy and he's living in there and he's got a satellite TV thing and he just hooks it up and like streams the fucking show.
I don't know
you.
what they do it, but I can tell you that a lot of the games that I don't watch them that often, but when I do, I think some of them are below 480 resolution.
I know they
and
are.
I remember when
and there's like hundreds of people. They find out that there's a stream, and everybody starts watching the same stream, and then they start fucking chopping and lagging and all that. Well, I remember when I was really like, because I played some soccer when I was young, but there's not really like a soccer culture in the U.S. So when I started to actually really get into football and watch like English Premier League, and then started watching Mexican games and other stuff like that, I remember it was really hard to find an ability to watch football matches in the US unless you subscribe to like the really fucking special channels, which were quite expensive. So I started watching a lot of football matches on those streams. And you can imagine some of the people that broadcast like the Mexican like Club America games and shit like that. The streams were not higher than 480p. They were like 220, you know, and it's like updates like 4 frames a second. Like the audio is good, but like you see like one picture every like 4 seconds, like a slideshow.
Yeah, I remember during the European Championship last year, a friend of mine invited me to go watch the Portugal game.
Oh, a viewing party.
Yeah, well, it was it was just like 4 people.
Yeah. It's
but
like it's like on a big screen, like a 50-inch TV, and it's like a 1080. It's a really nice TV, and then the ultimate source quality is like 240p, and it's blown up to like 50 inches.
It wasn't like that.
No.
We were watching the Danish TV stream.
Okay.
The thing that I realized was as soon as I saw the very first moments of the game on the TV, I was like, wow, I'm not used to watching a football game with this amount of detail. That's really the first thing I noticed. I was like, wow, there's way too many pixels there. Where are the squares, you know? It's like, I know exactly where the ball is.
You're like, wow, I can tell what that player is. Where's the red block that usually rounds around?
Yeah, exactly. It was...
nice.
That was a nice moment. It's
nice, man.
But I mean, I'll take whatever I can. You know, if the only way I can watch Benfica is through these streams, and I want the thing is I want to watch the games with Portuguese commentary as well. So even if for example, even if I was watching, I don't know, Germany, France, I don't want to watch it with Danish commentary. I want to watch it with the Portuguese commentary.
I can imagine.
Because the Portuguese commentators, they are so much more lively than the Danish ones. Or even than any. I even prefer them to the British ones. And the British, they get enthusiastic here and there, you know?
Yeah, I do. I mean,
but I like the Portuguese commentators more.
I think probably my favorite 2 types of commentary on a football match is the Mexican commentators are pretty amazing. They're really full of life, you know? I like those a lot. And also, I think the British commentators as well. Like,
the British are okay.
There's like a sense of professionalism, you know, with that, and like a sense of authority on the subject.
Yeah, but that's the accent.
Do you think so? Is it only that, or is it maybe?
Yeah.
Did they invent the game, or no?
Maybe they did, but
okay. So they invented the game. So do you think they may be an authority on the subject?
I think they consider themselves.
Well,
this is just going to be a podcast about shitting on other nationalities.
Yeah, maybe.
I think they might consider themselves an authority, and that doesn't mean that they are.
Yeah.
But there's something. I mean, of course, I grew up with the Portuguese commentators.
You guys
have
Ronaldo, you know. I mean, you can't consider yourself like not somewhat of an authority on football when you produce arguably probably one of the greatest football players to ever touch the pitch, right?
Well, yeah, but that doesn't. That just makes us maybe more of a football nation than others. But I don't know. I don't think having a world-class player necessarily
gives
means
the commentators that
gives any authority to the commentators of the country.
I don't know.
The thing is, in Portugal, let's say Monday comes in. If you don't watch football, basically Monday you're not going to be interacting with your colleagues because that's
they're all
like all the water cooler, all the water cooler conversation in Portugal on Mondays is basically
about
the games that happen on the weekend.
Wow, did you see how he juked them right there?
I mean,
wasn't that impressive?
We are a 10 million population country.
Yeah,
we have 3 daily football newspapers, sports newspapers, but I mean, they're really just football newspapers.
Seems
daily,
like a lot.
you know, every day. It's really a big part. They say that Portugal is the country of the 3 Fs, which is I forgot one of them. But there's fado, which is the music, the traditional folk music from Portugal. There's football.
Yeah.
And I think there must be another F that right now I can't remember.
Fucking or food or something.
Yeah, but food is not F in Portuguese.
Yeah, okay.
Fatima. The the religious side. So they're Fatima, yeah.
Nice. Well, it's easy to forget about that one. It doesn't seem as useful as the others. Okay. So are we... You know, I'd like... I hope Neil comes back soon. We were actually watching like some Chelsea matches and stuff last year. We would go down to the Globe or whatever and watch some games live, just have a few beers and shit there and watch some matches.
Yeah, I'm for some reason...
You don't really care about Premier League, do you?
I don't care so much about football games where I'm not really invested in one of the teams, you know?
That's fair.
Maybe whenever there's events like that, if I start betting, it's a slippery slope, I know.
Yeah, but then you get invested.
Then I'll
quite
get
literally
fucking invested, especially if I put some significant money, not just like 20 krona.
You can just also pick a team that you kind of like something about them and just kind of make that your team, right? Like, because I remember when I got into watching football in the U.S., there's a place in Houston called the Richmond Arms, and it's the only like real, actually kind of authentic British style pub and shit where they show games, and they open at like 6 in the morning because of all the timing difference and everything. They show rugby and they show football, and it's the only place where you actually have legitimate huge concentration of foreigners, Europeans, Africans and shit. Everybody comes there to watch football, and they're fucking serious about their shit. And when you get there early in the morning for the football matches, well, the rugby guys have already been there for hours and they're already pissed drunk, and they're like, "Oh, come to watch some football, have you pansy?" Or, like they're talking shit. Right as you show up, they're like, "Oh, shouldn't you watch some rugby like a real man?" And all this other shit. You're like, come on, dude. I'm just here for a fucking Chelsea match. Fuck off. He's like, "Oh, yeah, sounds about right." And so anyways, this place is like kind of legit. The only problem is in the U.S., of course, what do you think everybody's favorite football team is?
In the U.S.?
Yeah. Like, for the people that describe themselves as, like, self-defined, like, football fans.
Huh. I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. It's Manchester United.
Manchester United.
Yeah, of course it fucking is. Because everybody's a goddamn United fan. So,
like, that's only because they've been, like, the biggest team in, like, the last 10 years.
Of course.
10 years ago.
Of course.
Which is the one when they got into it.
Okay, of course. But at the same time, like, do you always have to bandwagon on whatever the best shit is all the time? Like, can you never root for an underdog? So basically, that was my opinion going on. I was like, everybody's a fucking United fan. I was like, I'll just be a fucking Chelsea fan. I was like, these guys look all right, and fuck United, To be fair, Chelsea have their own set of things, like how much fucking money they throw at their team and still don't get good results.
But in the past 10 years, once they got Mourinho there, the first time.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm just saying, like, you could just go in there and pick a team. Like, fuck it, Everton, that's my team now.
Well, the thing is, I have 3 favorite teams in Europe or in the world, I guess, which is Benfica, of course, because it's the greatest team.
Yeah.
And then I equally like Barcelona and AC Milan.
Okay, yeah, AC Milan.
But none of them play in the Premier League.
No.
So in terms of Premier League teams, I don't really have one that I fancy over the others.
You just don't give any fuck at all about Premier League, I guess.
Not so much.
Interesting.
To be fair, I don't think I'm that big of a football fan. I am a Benfica fan. But I don't think I'm particularly enthusiastic about football in general.
No, but I would say out of all the kind of like popular sports matches that are generally televised and you can watch on TV and also play pretty well on TV, like some games are just better watched in person, and I would never really watch them on TV. Like baseball as an example. I'll never watch a game on TV. Actually going to the stadium and watching a baseball game is actually pretty entertaining, because mainly you just sit around, eat peanuts, drink beer, and talk shit. Yeah. But it's a long thing. But yeah, you don't want to watch it on TV generally unless you're just a fucking diehard baseball guy. Basketball is another one. Basketball is pretty entertaining
to
watch on TV. But basketball is amazing to watch in person.
I can imagine.
Yeah. That's a great, because you really feel like you're there with the players, and hearing like the sneakers and shit fucking squeaking on the court.
Because if you have money, but you can get really fucking close to
even if you don't get amazing seats, you can still get like a good experience at the basketball match or the basketball game. So but anyways, out of all those that are actually good to watch on TV, I think soccer is one of my more generally favored ones. Like if we're all just gonna have some viewing party, I think number one would be like a UFC. I love to watch like UFC or MMA type shit with friends, because that's like you just sit around, talk shit, and watch that.
That's pretty much the sport that I watch now the most.
Yeah.
It's UFC. They actually had the UFC yesterday, and apparently the main event started at 1 in the morning local time.
Here in Copenhagen or local time there?
Here.
Okay.
Which is actually not that bad.
Yeah, we could have watched it. Maybe.
We could have watched it because from the main event, what is it? 2 hours, 3 hours max from the main event on.
4 in the morning. We could have been up that late.
Yeah, we could have been up until 4.
Hell, I was up till fucking 6 in the morning last night. So yeah, I could have definitely done it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start paying more attention to that, and
Okay.
if they keep the schedules like that,
Yeah, we should do it.
I'd love to do one.
Yeah,
To
we
do
should
something
definitely
like
do
that.
it. I mean, if you know, if
Well,
you want, we can definitely watch it here. I got a big TV here, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Or we could go do it somewhere else as well.
There's Ryzen happening right now. Ryzen is
That's a new CPU from AMD.
is it?
Ryzen.
Okay.
Yeah.
RIZ.
No, RYZEN.
No, okay. No,
That's the
Ys.
new like multi-core CPU.
No, it's just another I don't know what
It's
you call it,
another-
entity that throws
Like Pride
that-
or like
yeah,
UFC or whatever.
there
It's
used to
like
be
another
Pride,
MMA
Dream,
fighting
organization.
organization.
Yes.
That's right.
Pride, and I think they have events twice a year, and
Okay. What's their claim to
The-
fame? Do they have any good fighters? A bunch of up and coming guys or what?
I might be wrong here, but I think their claim to fame might be that on their contract they specifically say we do not test for steroids in this.
Okay, so
in this
in that place, you're gonna
organization,
get
yeah.
the guys that are juiced up to the gills, fucking going at
I
it.
might be confusing it with some other, but
Okay.
I know that Ryzen is really popular.
I
And-
imagine
and they-
that
they
has to do
stream-
with
it's-
some of the popularity.
It's Japanese, and of course they don't have only Japanese or only Asian fighters, and they stream for $14. You could watch the stream today, the whole day live.
Really? Is it on today?
Yeah, it's on right now.
Oh shit!
$14, $14.
That's not much.
No, it's not. So maybe next time they have an event,
A big event, we should stream it.
We
and
should
then fucking
just,
watch it.
yeah,
I agree.
just get together
I will
and watch it.
I'll happily pay $14 to watch an event. That's way better pricing than the UFC.
Yeah, UFC is 60.
And
or
if we
more.
all pitch in, I mean, it's like $4
It's
a person. It's nothing.
It's nothing.
Okay.
And I mean, people really like it. I haven't seen any yet, but people
Yeah.
really like it.
Okay. I mean, I'm up for that.
And especially if I'm not mistaken, if they have all the juiced up guys in there.
Yeah. Then
Oh,
you know
that-
that,
that
it's
should-
going to be
that
like
should be good.
Sean Shirk back in his fucking
should
like
be really good.
super juiced up days. Some guy with like just pythons fucking choking you out. Let's see. Should we take a look at this Copenhagen subreddit? It's usually a little slow, but there's an RC car racing new team looking for members. If you are RC car curious,
My grandfather used to have an RC car business.
there are two very interesting clubs. The Brøndby Racing Club and the Glostrup Racing Club.
They're kind of close to each other.
This guy's looking to get into the hobby, but both clubs are obviously Danes only. Feels bad, man.
That doesn't sound very interesting. How are American currently viewed in Copenhagen?
How are Americans currently viewed in Copenhagen? Hey, this is an interesting post that I might relate to.
Oh, European honeymoon
Oh
in
man,
Copenhagen.
my fiance and I are starting our European honeymoon in Copenhagen on April 24th, and we were curious as to how Americans are currently viewed in Copenhagen and Europe as a whole. Should we say sorry for Trump? We didn't vote for him shirts? Or no one really cares where you're from. Just enjoy Copenhagen and have a few pints of Danish beer. Fair enough. That's pretty much the right answer anyway.
I really think it's actually funny. I think, of course, nobody cares where you're from. If anyone has an issue with anything American, it's going to be with the politics.
Yeah.
I remember on the day after the vote, so that people found out that Trump was elected.
Yeah.
Not when he took office, but when he actually won the election. The next morning, I was walking to work, and on Vesterbrogel, there was a guy just kind of making eye contact with people that passed by and just saying, I'm sorry for Trump. And he was just saying that for everybody. And I thought it was so strange.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm sorry for Trump. I'm sorry. I guess he was American.
Mm-hmm. There's not really much here. Some guy asking for a place to sleep, like couch surfing or something. This flipped car. Did you see this?
No.
What was this, about a week
How-
ago? There was
how
a
did it
flipped
flip?
car down here near Newhound. I don't know actually exactly how it flipped, but it's completely upside down here.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a natural.
This guy said,
position for
here's
a car.
another angle. I didn't see the beginning of the incident, so I don't know why it happened, but I heard one or two people scream, and I looked up and saw a car flip once or twice. A lot of smoke came out, too. I thought it was going to explode. I don't think anybody was hurt, fortunately.
Yeah, especially on an area like that. It's not like a big area where people just speed up, you know? Maybe there was a bump. Maybe they sped up a little bit and there was a bump.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to flip a car like that. They're probably doing something really stupid.
Oh, that's interesting. Somebody's asking what's the best pho in town.
Yeah, I actually read this, and there was some recommendations, and there was a place here that actually said this is, natrang.dk.
Gansau.
This is a place they actually said, this Vietnamese restaurant on Ransel scale might be worth a shot. I've had their pho and thought it was pretty good, made with noodles. Prices are pretty decent too. And then somebody else said, came here in December, then went to Vietnam in January. It's easily the most authentic pho outside of Vietnam, and it's always full of Vietnamese, which is a good sign. So,
I used to eat Vietnamese food when I lived in Northwest.
Yeah.
Because there was just a guy, like I think him and his wife just had a small shop that made food. And it was right next to where I lived.
I'm going to check this place out because I really have been missing pho. There was a really good Vietnamese pho place that was very close or pretty close to our house when we bought it in Houston. And we used to go there a lot. Like every weekend, we would probably stop in around noon or something, get a lunch there before we went shopping or whatever. And actually, we liked it so much. And it was a pretty small place. Like the guy would maybe have 5 people eating there at a time. You know, it wasn't like really busy. But he also, I think he did some deliveries, but we were kind of outside of the area, but we knew him so well and we went there so often that I would just call him up and be like, hey, I want like some pho.
The usual.
Just give me the usual. And he would bring it out to us like personally. He would make it and just take his van and come bring it to us. And he was a really nice guy. And I really miss having that pho on a regular basis. It's such a delicate kind of dish with like a nice flavor. Like
I'm not sure I ever had it, to be fair. Isn't it like a soup-like thing?
Yeah, the one I
watery,
really liked is it's basically like kind of a watery broth with noodles in there, and then on top they also put some of those like little sprouts or kind of like some salad type stuff, some sprouts on top, and then it has some of those onions in there, like the spring onions or the longer onions,
yes,
chopped up very finely, and then they put some sort of meat in there usually. And I used to get the beef brisket, which is like the really slow cooked beef that's like really tender, and then they slice it ultra thin, so you have like tiny little like 1 millimeter thick slices of beef brisket in there, and then oh man, it's amazing. Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I ever had.
You think, wow, it's a soup that can't really be that filling? Oh shit, man, you're fucking wrong. All the noodles and the beef and the other things in there, it's a very hearty meal. It's just the broth is kind of delicate flavored.
I should try it.
You should. You absolutely should. And then I would also get some. What else would I get? What am I thinking? What am I like? Not spring rolls. Dumplings. I would get the fried dumplings there too.
Yeah,
like
but dumplings. I've had dumplings.
I know,
from
but
Chinese
but I'm
places.
just saying, like having those dumplings and then the pho.
Are the Vietnamese dumplings any different than Chinese ones?
I don't know how much different they really are. Although I think the dipping sauce for them, like the flavor profile they use for that, is slightly different. It's a bit like, I think it's like soy sauce based, but it's mixed with like a little bit of sweetness as well. So it's kind of like not a really thick sauce. It's like more the consistency of soy sauce than like, for instance, mayonnaise. But it's not. It's like a blend between like a sweet and sour and like soy sauce or something. It's quite good.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're looking for some good Vietnamese, I haven't tried it, but apparently this place is good.
There's a thread there. Somebody's asking for the biggest durum in Novo.
Oh,
I think that's the largest. Yeah, I think that's an interesting.
The largest.
An interesting question.
What is the largest durum on Norbro?
Well, I don't live in Novo, so I don't know. I can tell you that. Actually, I'm not very good at this because I always go to the same place.
Yeah. Which one do you go to?
I always go to Kebabistan
right.
on Eastergel.
Yeah.
That's for me. That's the place that I go there, and the guys call my orders already.
Is it because it's your like? Do you think it's actually the best, or is it just out of convenience, or both, or what?
Both.
Okay, so it's the best one you can get, and it's also convenient as fuck.
It's the most tasty one.
And those guys know they know you. Is it pretty cheap too?
Well, it's the regular price for a durum. I mean, I can
probably
get
like 40 crowns or something.
45, I think.
That's
They just raised the prices. But seriously, it just tastes so much better than the others. I'm not sure it's the most authentic.
No.
So I'm not sure that if you go to whatever Turkey or Lebanon or whatever that they're selling
exactly
this,
like that.
that is going to taste like that. But it's certainly the best lamb in Copenhagen. Yeah,
I still haven't had it. I need to try it out.
And the thing is, so talking about size, because size matters.
Yeah.
I often get the durum and then ask for extra meat. So you can pay 10 krona and get extra meat on top. And sometimes, I think especially because they know me and I'm a regular.
They just hook
like
you up
me,
with extra meat automatically.
No, well, I always pay for it.
Oh, okay.
But like,
when they give it to you, you get way more.
I've had extra meat done by someone who didn't know me there at the same place.
Yeah.
And it felt
like 10% more. And then
exactly.
It's like double.
But when they know me, holy shit, they pack that shit up. It's hard to grip just with one hand sometimes, you know?
Nice.
I really recommend them.
Nice, man.
I really recommend them.
All right, I'm gonna have to check that out. Nothing really else going on the subreddit.
Oh,
here.
but wait! I want to know what places people recommend.
You want to know about the biggest one?
The biggest one.
Okay, hold on. Let me open the thread again. I mean, I didn't know it was that important to you.
Well, that's what I was looking for.
It's like this is a choice between quality and quantity. Shawarma Palace.
La Centrale.
Yeah. Pizza Fantasia.
I'm not gonna buy it
from a pizza place.
Pizza Fantasia.
Felivai pizza. No, again, that's a pizza place. King of Kebab. In XXL durum.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
when you go for size, XXL.
Yeah, the XXL durum. It's 50. It's only 50 crowns.
Yeah, and it costs
like 10%.
Not even double than the regular one.
Somewhere in Valby, you'll find one of the biggest durums in Copenhagen area.
Half kilo durum.
Serena Pizzeria, half kilo durum.
There you go.
Sells for 26 crowns.
What?
You gotta wonder what kind of meat that is at that price and that quantity. That doesn't sound like
that sounds like some
lamb.
Kind of
like they got a dog.
That sounds like they just added water to some powder, you know, and then rolled it in a
meat out of a
piece of bread,
vat or something.
Wow. Okay, so I don't know any of those.
So you got a few places to try now. The biggest one.
Yeah, I don't know any of those.
Maybe bring like
places.
some probiotics, like
yes,
like that
to
yogurt.
aid digestion.
Yeah, something like some sort of digestive for when you eat those, because I think it's questionable. 500 grams of lamb, quote lamb meat. I don't know. You never know.
Well, they just say the durum is 500 grams. It doesn't. It's not necessarily. They might have like 50 grams of meat and just pack it up with.
Who wants that? Nobody wants that.
I don't know, but at least they can sell it as a 500 gram. I've had a big ass burger. I don't know how many grams, but I think it's like 400 grams. I didn't finish the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was like a regular burger. They just put thick patties, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then it comes with a burger that is like bigger than my palm, like with the fingers spread out. Like it was huge. And I wasn't really impressed. I can't remember where I got it from. I tried really hard to forget it. But it was someplace in Vesterpol. So sometimes size is not everything for it.
No, I think that you need to find a good balance of quality and quantity.
Oh,
right?
yeah, I know that in terms of food, you're not much of a size person when it comes to food. You really just like the good stuff.
I think so. Yeah.
Like I've never seen you really just pig out on food.
No, I think probably the most I usually eat at one sitting is like when we go to Greasy Spoon and I get the big cheese double, like the double cheeseburger with bacon, and then like a thing of fries, and then I might also sometimes get like a milkshake too. I think that whole meal is like 1,500, 1,800 calories. I don't know. Like it's approaching 2,000 calories in one sitting, you know?
Yeah.
And after you eat that, you like, your body's like, you start walking, you know, you leave the place, you start walking, and your body's kind of, you know, like your stomach lets you know that there's like work in progress that it has not yet finished.
Yeah, is that with the milkshake? I don't get the whole drinking milkshakes.
I don't know. No, you just feel, you know, when you feel overly full, you just feel stuffed, and then you start walking, and you're like, it's fine, but like your body knows, like there's some, like you're basically carrying a second child in your stomach, you know, while you're trying to walk around, and it must be kind of what it feels like to be pregnant.
When you say a second child, who's the first child?
Well,
that
I don't
you
know.
carry?
Well, okay, me, yeah, I carry me around everywhere, I'm a big ass kid.
Not in your stomach.
Hey man, the other week we bought some Capri Sun, and I was sipping out of a juice box over here like a big kid, you know.
You
never had Capri Sun?
I'm not sure I did. No.
It's the thing. It's like
I know what it is.
The drink in the bag.
Yeah, I know what it is. The juice in a
You always see some little like snot-nosed toddler drinking a fucking like slurping out of one of those.
I do associate it with
like a snot-nosed
toddlers.
toddler.
Yeah, for some reason.
Anyways, I had some Capri Sun the other week, and holy shit, they're fucking. I forgot how good they are, but you look a little ridiculous slurping that straw like a fucking kid. But yeah. So I don't know. There's not too much else, at least on the Copenhagen subreddit. I don't have much else, at least from the news department. What else should we wrap up here? Do you think we're about good?
Yeah, I don't know how long this has been going on. Maybe an hour?
Yeah, maybe something like that. So we do have the official SoundCloud now. Yeah. SoundCloud.com/unfiltered - Copenhagen. You can email us at unfilteredcph@gmail.com. If you have some ideas for the show, if you have any commentary, any feedback, or if you're interested in being a guest on the show, we'd like to hear from you and maybe have you on. There's no real requirements. You don't have to be Danish. You don't necessarily have to live in Copenhagen, although I think it's a bit of a bonus. You could just be visiting Copenhagen, you know, or like a foreigner here like we are. But I think it would be good if you had some input on the city.
Yeah, it'll just be interesting enough. Just be cool. I don't care.
So yeah, and then we'll be on Stitcher. We already have that kind of in progress, and we're working
maybe
on
get an Instagram as well.
We're working on the iTunes. Yeah, should we have an Instagram and Twitter?
So.
We haven't really.
We're gonna at least Instagram,
get all that social media shit set up soon.
Well, the thing with Instagram is we can actually add snippets. So if we have a funny 2-minute snippet, we can just put it there. I don't know what's the video limit for Instagram. I do not have an Instagram account. But I'm up for mingling with the teenagers.
All right, sounds good. I don't have too much else.
All right,
so I guess that'll wrap it up.
That's good for now. There's more next week. I mean,
see you guys
it's a
next
city
time.
that never sleeps. Woohoo!